So in the second stage of my trip, I went up to Dharamsala and stayed with our friends Peter and Yessi down in Lower Dharamsala. And I had the opportunity to have an interview with His Holiness Dalai Lama, which was very nice. And I delivered to him the invitation from, that we've written to invite him to come, please come to Spokane, and told him a little bit about the kind of activities we'd like to have. And he accepted it and nodded and didn't say anything, but that's what I expected, because he gets so many invitations that he's certainly not going to say something encouraging when his staff who plans where he goes and for how long and everything. But at least we made the personal personal connection and personal invitation. And I showed him the picture book of the Abbey, which he looked through. And when I had initially been starting the Abbey, when I told him about it, I think it was in 2001, he asked me, much to my surprise, which Vinaya system we were going to use. And at that time, I hadn't really thought about it. But that question remained in my mind. So when I saw him this time, I told him that we had decided to use the Dharmaguptaka Vinaya system as practiced in Taiwan and China, because then all the nuns could become fully ordained. And he was very pleased when I told him we were doing the Vinaya, the Dharmagupta Vinaya. He said, very good, very good. And then when I told him that we now are going to have 5 bhikshunis, so we have a bhikshuni sangha, he was also very happy. And he said, well, are you now going to do the 3 main ceremonies? Because there's 3 main monastic ceremonies, doing the posada, the bi-monthly confession and purification of our vows, and then the rains retreat, the Varsa, and the Pravanarana, which is a ceremony done at the end of the rains retreat. So he asked us if we were planning on doing those 3, and I said yes. And so I've now written to somebody to see if she can help translate the latter 2. We have the Posada, but we don't have the other 2 in English. But he seemed very happy when I said yes, that we were going ahead with the main monastic retreats. So that was very good, and so he knows what we're doing and approves. And then he said it's very important to continue studying, and so we're doing that. And we'll increase our study program as time goes on. And so it was very nice. Yeah, it was very good. So, and then, after being in Dharamsala for a short time, then I went back down to Delhi for this conference, the Global Buddhist Congregation. Okay, I said it right this time. And so this was a conference that was organized by the Ashoka Mission, which I think was founded by a Burmese monk many years ago, but it is now being run by Lama Lobsang, who's from Ladakh and in the Tibetan tradition. And so they organized this huge conference. They invited over 800 delegates and 300 observers. Of course, not all of them could come, but many of the really top people from the different Buddhist traditions. They had the Sangharajas from, I forget which places, the acting Sangharaj for Thailand, because the actual one I think is quite old and ill, and then from Laos and Cambodia, and really high-ranking people. And then they had, people from over 40 countries. So it was a lot of monastics, a lot of lay people too. Some academics, but all the academics, not all, but most of the academics, I think, were practitioners. And we were at 4 different hotels, and they have this thing of trying to get, holding simultaneous sessions at different hotels and trying to get buses to take you from one place to the other. And this is India, remember? So it was really interesting, You know, I've lived in India before, I know what to expect, so that was all okay. But it was pretty intense because it was nonstop. It was one session after another session after another session. And the theme was about moving Buddhism into the 21st century. So there were sessions about Buddhism and psychology, preservation, development of the Dharma, Buddhism and science, Buddhism and the environment, which I heard had a very top-class group of people making presentations there. Women in Buddhism, right livelihood. That's where I gave the paper that some of you were reading about right livelihood for the Sangha in the 21st century. So there were all these different sessions and translations going on into multiple languages. Some of the sessions were quite interesting, some of them I didn't find so interesting, but what was really fascinating was meeting all of the people, and from so many different places, and you know, we all came together for the sake of the Dharma. So that was really wonderful. So I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but that gives you a little taste of the conference.